Well, the words emergency and housing usually only appear beside each other in Australia after a crisis like a flood or a bushfire. But they appeared in Queensland on the weekend after Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk admitted housing in the state had become a crisis as a result of, she didn't say this bit out loud, her government's incompetence. Griffith University announced it would provide 200 unused beds at its Mount Gravatt campus for emergency use. Palaszczuk said, quote, "This will increase accommodation available for people in need and help solve one of the multiple housing issues. Nothing is more important than having a roof over your head. It's a basic need, and the stories of people without secure housing are heartbreaking," unquote. Well, not heartbreaking enough for the Premier to use all the options available to fix the problem, as my next guest, former Queensland Senator Amanda Stoker, will explain. But first, this next story isn't from Queensland, but it's a disturbing one nonetheless, and it should concern us all. Sophie Tawney is an independent, otherwise known as a Teal, candidate for Kew in Melbourne, the seat that is being vacated by Liberal Tim Smith. It's a safe Conservative seat. Tawney supports abortion. On Saturday night, an anti-abortion activist poured kerosene through the front door of her campaign office. This is not as bad as the attack on the offices of the Australian Christian Lobby in Canberra in 2017, which was firebombed, but it's still very disturbing. Now let's bring in Amanda to discuss this. Amanda, welcome.
Thanks, Fred. Lovely to be with you. Isn't this a sad story emanating from Victoria?
It is. Well, we're lucky to not see this kind of political violence very often in Australia, but it is important for all sides to condemn it, whichever side it comes from, don't you think?
Look, I think that's right. It's still a case where the facts of what happened are emerging, and it's not clear to me how they've identified that this fellow is an anti-abortion activist. But quite frankly, no matter what the issue is and no matter what the political bent of the candidate, nothing of this nature is ever appropriate. And if this person is someone with a pro-life worldview, he really isn't helping the cause of what are the beliefs of a wide range of really very moderate and sensible Australians who want to see the human rights of all people protected, including those who are not yet born. He's really doing a great disservice to people who believe in that cause if he's doing it out of a politically motivated act. And so whatever the political issue and whoever the candidate is, this stuff is not on. Far better to take on Sophie Tawney, the Teal independent, for the fact that she says she's independent, but in fact is funded by the Climate 200 and big solar and big climate and its lobby. Far better to take her on for the illogicality of her policies or the inability of her to deliver were she to be elected. If people are looking for a good, sensible and measured candidate that reflects the wide range of views in that community, then they'd be far better off with Jess Wilson, the Liberal candidate.